Ask any handful of people what they consider the most iconic part of Star Wars to be, and at least one of them will generally answer with lightsaber duels. Lightsaber combat, especially in the prequel trilogy, is incredibly complex, and the lightsaber duels of the Star Wars universe often shape its history significantly. In this video, we'll be starting a series in which we'll analyze a series of lightsaber duels in detail, beginning with Anakin Skywalker's fight with Count Dooku aboard the Invisible Hand. This duel, which started off episode 3, took place 19 years before the Battle of Yavin, in the midst of the Battle of Coruscant. On their way to rescue Supreme Chancellor Palpatine from the CIS flagship Invisible Hand, Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi were confronted by Count Dooku in the general's quarters of the warship, where Palpatine was being held. After a brief exchange broke out, the duel began. It should be mentioned, before we delve into this, that Count Dooku did not originally see this as a real battle. In accordance with the Sith Grand Plan, he believed that his role would be to kill Kenobi and allow himself to be captured by Skywalker and be taken to Coruscant for trial. There, he would gradually regain his influence by shifting the blame for the atrocities of the Clone Wars onto General Grievous, and would hold a high place in Darth Sidious's new order. Of course, Sidious himself had other plans, and neither of the Jedi involved knew any of this. Despite having no knowledge of the schemes of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan came prepared for a trap, so they decided to spring their own. They opened the battle almost the same way they had on Geonosis, with the only difference being that they attacked Dooku together. Anakin started out using the Xi'an variant of Form 5, which he had used as a Padawan, while Obi-Wan opened with the basic moves of Ataru, which his master had used, and as a result, he knew Dooku was more familiar with. This, together with some intended clumsiness, tricked the Count into a false sense of security and led him to believe that his opponents had not seen much improvement from their duel 3 years prior. Dooku, of course, was entirely wrong with this assessment. Mid-battle, Skywalker and Kenobi switched to the forms they were more comfortable with, Form 5's Gemso variant and Form 3 respectively. Having adjusted his own style to match what he perceived his opponents to be, Dooku was caught entirely off guard by this. Gemso's strength-based attacks would have been lethal against the lighter Makashi defense were Dooku not a truly skilled swordsman, and Kenobi's Sorisu defense was effectively impenetrable, and so the Count found himself thoroughly outmatched. It was at this point that he stopped playing games and decided to go in for the kill. Exploiting Gemso's lack of mobility, Dooku was able to knock Skywalker aside in no time to choke Kenobi with the Force and remove him from the battle, burying him under a walkway. Skywalker responds by kicking Dooku in the face and knocking him off the balcony. Though Anakin promptly throws away this high ground advantage, this does for a moment present an interesting reversal. With Skywalker on the balcony and Dooku on the ground below, their positions have been reversed from the duel's start. It is at this point that the tides of the battle turn in Skywalker's favour and Dooku realises it. As Skywalker begins to push him back, growing increasingly strong with every blow, Dooku comes to sense that Skywalker was a natural. He was half Sith already, and he didn't even know it. The boy had a gift of fury. Dooku realizes that the only thing holding Skywalker back is fear, something that he unwisely points out to Anakin in a taunt.
Sense great fear in you, Skywalker.
As soon as Anakin Skywalker realizes that he can use fear as a weapon, the battle is over, and the rest is mere show. Skywalker turns his fear into fury and uses it against Dooku, coming down hard against his defense and forcing the trained duelist to rapidly give ground. He uses the memories of past experiences, abuse at the hands of Watto, the death of his mother, and the horrors of the Clone Wars to turn Dooku's retreat into defeat, cutting off Dooku's hands and catching the Count's lightsaber with the Force. As he holds his own lightsaber and Dooku's to the Sith Lord's neck, the duel is over. But while the lightsaber battle is technically over, the battle for Anakin Skywalker's soul isn't. Holding both the red blade and a blue blade at Dooku's neck, Anakin here is on the edge between the light and the dark, an edge that Palpatine pushes him over. In a contest of 13 years of Jedi training against Sheev saying "do it" exactly once, Sheev wins, and Count Dooku loses his head. Anakin regrets this decision immediately. Palpatine tries to reassure him, stating that Dooku was too dangerous to be left alive, but as Anakin points out, it was nonetheless not the Jedi way. This is the beginning of the end for Anakin's descent to the dark side, an important step taken toward becoming Darth Vader. The last step that he takes draws parallels with this one too. Also, it'd be a good idea to remember those two quotes when we analyze Mace Windu's duel with Darth Sidious. That's our analysis of Anakin Skywalker's duel with Count Dooku aboard the Invisible Hand. A good deal of the detail for this video was drawn from the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, which goes into much more depth and presents the majority of the duel from Dooku's perspective, which is just one great part in an already worthwhile read. So what do you think? Did we miss anything important, and do you like this new series? As per usual, post your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.